Hi everyone, how are you doing today? We have some more Aptera news here. Steve Fambro is actually on a podcast, and so we're going to get right into this as he talks about, well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get into this right now. Welcome back to my channel. It's good to have everybody here. We thank you for joining Free Power. We know that you're here to get updated on Aptera, so we're going to talk about that. And actually, we have a really good treat for you. Steve Fambro is actually on a news podcast where he is talking about who Aptera is really good for. So we're going to check this podcast out. And there's so many different things that he gets into, but right now, that's the subject we're going to focus on. So let's get into this podcast right now.
He's the co-founder and co-CEO of Aptera Motors. To be here on the show, Steve, thanks so much for being here on the world-famous Driving You Crazy podcast.
My pleasure, Jason.
Well, we're going to get into the specifics of your new vehicle coming up in just a little bit, but I want to go back to the original idea you had to build a car from the ground up. You found out firsthand that it is not as easy when you founded Aptera Motors 20 years ago. Back then, you launched your Type 1, your three-wheeled vehicle, the two-seat electric vehicle. And it has to be obviously one of the most unique aerodynamic designs that's out there on the road. What was the thinking about creating the three-wheel instead of a four-wheel and the shape of the vehicle?
I wanted to convert an existing car to electric because I wanted an electric car. And I talked to a lot of people that did. I was an electrical engineer at the time. Before that, I was a technician in the Army. And I went to my Army school actually in Denver at the old Lowry Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
I was there almost a year. But later I went to school in GI Bill, became an engineer, wanted to build electric cars as a hobby. And all the people I talked to said they only got like 20, 30, 40 miles range. And I wanted to know why. And as an engineer, and it became clear to me, that it was drag, aerodynamic drag, and weight. And so I started looking for books. I found this book. You see, it's got a lot of tabs in it. I still use it. It's called The Leading Edge, and it's about those wacky solar car racers that the universities do.
Yeah.
And I read it from front to back and inculcated all the information into my thinking and said, if we want to design a passenger vehicle, hey, it can't be like this. People need to sit side by side. It has to be roomy, but yet it still needs, the right kind of shape. And it was really the math and science that dictated that we have to make this shape in order to achieve a meaningful range.
Are they more unstable? Aren't they at a higher speed? So can you ride them on the interstate, or do you have a problem with any kind of wobble, or are they pretty stable at higher speeds?
Very stable. I mean, it's like that's why your tripod is a tripod and not a quad pod. That the three wheels are very stable, and the vehicle drives on the highway fast enough to lose your license. It'll go over 100 miles an hour, so it drives just like a regular passenger vehicle. You can't tell any difference other than it's very quick and you don't have to plug it in as much.
But your original design, and much like the solar-powered one that we'll talk more about in a bit, the vehicle really isn't designed to be driven down to Costco and loaded up with a bunch of stuff, right? Who is the target audience for your original design?
Well, with our current customers, yeah, this is like a second vehicle, maybe a third vehicle. But people really change their mind when they see it in person, because even though you think, well, it's a two-seater vehicle, this cargo space back here is actually more than most sedans with the back seat folded down. It's about 1,000 liters of space. So that's on par or greater than most hatchbacks or electric sedans on the market today. So you can go to Costco and fill it with all kinds of stuff. We've done it.
Okay, my guest is Steve Fambro. He's the co-founder and co-CEO of Aptera Motors. We're talking about their new solar-charged electric car. You can find them at aptera.us, aptera.us. Now, the first version of your vehicle didn't work out like you planned after it went bankrupt, but you came back and now you're trying it again here back in 2019. What was the spark that made you want to try another run at it?
Well, Chris and I left the original company in 2009. We had a serious disagreement with the new management that we hired. So we went off to do different things. I became a farmer, and Chris started a battery company and took it public. It was later in 2019 that we said, look, the battery technology has changed so much that we could theoretically go 400, 500, maybe even 1,000 miles with this vehicle because the batteries had so improved. And with some of the new solar technology that was out there, we realized that if we covered most of the top of the vehicle with solar cells, that we would cover most people's daily driving needs, meaning they just wouldn't have to plug it in to go to work every day, only on long trips. And that was really the spark for us.
You just mentioned battery technology. Where are we now, and where are we going with the battery technology? Because I have a Chevy Volt. I've driven it for the last 10, 11, 12 years. And it's starting to, it's the best car I've ever owned. But I can see that the battery is starting to degrade even after this amount of time. It was one of the first generations, so at most I would get maybe 45 miles on a charge with it. That's why it's great to have the generator in it. But you are saying in your literature that I'm reading that you could get up to 1,000 miles on one of your charges. How are you able to do that while the other companies who are making batteries and putting them in cars aren't able to get maybe 200 or 300, and then you obviously lose so much because of weather issues, temperature issues, load issues, all of those things?
So to be clear, on the 1,000 mile and the 600 mile, those are using the 4680 format. So those are larger cells. So we still need to make some adjustments on the vehicle to use those. But the 250 and the 400 mile range vehicle are done with the 21700 cells. That's the same one you'd see like in a Model 3 or something like that. Pretty well known. Ours, in our case, is made by LG, one of the biggest, most well-known suppliers in the world. So we're able to go 400 miles with only a 40 kilowatt hour pack, 42 kilowatt pack. And the reason for that is we only use about 100 watt hours per mile. Our design is to use about 100 watt hours per mile. And that's a fraction of what a typical EV uses. The reason for that is because it's very aerodynamic and very lightweight. So we're able to go that longer distance because our vehicle just uses such little electricity in comparison to other vehicles.
There was a revolution in computing when we went from disk drives to solid state. Is there another revolution coming for batteries where we're not using those little cells and there's going to be some kind of a solid state battery that's going to get us over that maybe 500, 600, 700 mile hump?
I think so. What we've seen with solar and batteries is that they are not stagnant by any stretch of the imagination. Every manufacturer on Earth is working to improve the efficiency. And so Aptera has really taken a position that we're going to choose best in class at the time, but we're going to keep eagle eyes on everybody else in the space and what they're developing. We felt that was more important than trying to double down on one technology specifically and then stay, sort of chained to that as maybe some might do if they build a factory and manufacture their own batteries. We thought the advances that are happening are so great and so fast, especially in China. It's better for us to just choose a best in class and then keep our irons in the fire with many different manufacturers, able to take the best that's available.
So now you can see, as Steve Fambro brought out, that battery technology is changing very fast and rapidly, and they are open to maybe making just a couple of modifications to the Aptera to keep up with the change in batteries technology. So they're doing some really fantastic things here, even though they went through a lot of changes when the company started. And of course, right now they are on the cusp of mass producing their vehicle, the Aptera. So how do you feel about how far they're going with the Aptera so far? We know that, very soon now that they're going to start mass producing it, and they're going to start doing the validating testing and see exactly what Aptera can do with the material that they designed it with now, that being the carbon fiber SMC, and as well as the new lightweight motor that they are using now. But all the testing, we'll get all that information soon, and we'll see how Aptera is doing. But anyway, you guys take care. I got some more on this podcast where he talks about even the solar panels and other things. and we'll be releasing that very soon. So you guys take care. Let me give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys very much. You continue to help me out so much. I really appreciate you. And we thank everybody for watching this video. So if you're new here, hit the like, ring the bell, subscribe. And if you want to actually become a part of what Aptera is doing, go to aptera.us or use my link down below, and it'll take you straight to where you can order your vehicle and design it the way you want. But you guys take care. Y'all have fun. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.